One of my favorite overdrive distortion pedals of all time is this guy right here. Well, actually, I just got this one. I used to have a bigger version of this. Now you might be asking, what is this? This is the Bogner Ecstasy Red. They also have the Bogner Ecstasy Blue. Now, what these little kind of amp in a box style pedals are designed to do is to get in the ballpark of the Bogner Ecstasy amplifier, which is an extremely popular and extremely expensive amplifier. These pedals do an incredible job of getting that vibe, and I really love these. Now, I sold my bigger version years ago, always regretted it. Came across this online the other day and thought, you know what, I'm going to grab one just to have it. I love this pedal so much. One of the things I love so much about it is that it's so flexible. It has some really interesting switches here. It has a neutral and B1, B2, which are different pre-EQ tone shaping options. Neutral is just kind of more flat, natural response. B1, I believe, is a boost in the high end, and B2 is a boost in the mids and high. We also have gain levels, plus and minus, so sort of a more modern versus classic, I guess. And we also have this Variac on-off switch where we can engage that for that dropped voltage vibe where we maybe get a little bit more saggy compression out of it. We also have a bass, middle, and treble, volume, and gain. So a million tones in this great little box, and I love it. So I thought, well, now that I have this, let's do some captures for Tonex, and that's exactly what I did, and I think they turned out great. So later in the video, you're going to hear a full-blown production that I completed using just the tones from this new Ecstasy Red Ultimate bundle that I have available at my website now. I have a free version there, and I have another bigger version with like 36 different captures of this pedal with all the different combinations and permutations of those different switches and settings that I showed you. And there's some amazing tones, all used in conjunction with the included 4 impulse responses from my RAV 212 impulse response bundle. So I'm going to have 4 in there for you. They're going to kind of come with some presets with them baked in, but I think they turned out great. What you're going to hear in the mix is going to be those presets used with pretty much zero processing after the fact. I made maybe little tweaks within Tonex, adding treble to the treble control within the amp. For the lead, I did go within Amplitude 5 and use the X-Gear delay just to add a little tiny bit of delay to have it sit in the mix. Other than that, there's really no post-processing going on, and you're just hearing those tones, how they sit in the mix with the different impulse responses and little tweaks to the tone stack on the amp. But without further ado, let's go take a listen to how these particular tone captures sound soloed, so you can hear what they sound like out of the mix and how we can actually tweak them, possibly to work better for ourselves. But there's a lot of possibilities here, and some of my favorite tones I've captured so far for Tonex. And then after that, we'll hear the full performance video mix. The song is another song I completed recently with my good friends Marco Miniman on drums and Jason Henry on the bass, and those guys knocked it out of the park like they always do. So let's head over to Amplitude with Tonex inside of it, and we'll see how these model captures turned out. So here we are over in Amplitude. Now you'll notice here that I have my JS RAV 212 Warm 251 impulse response. That is going to be included with the bundle, as well as the Fathead, as well as the SM7B, and as well as the combo of the 251-47 Junior. All impulse responses I really like, and I'll give you a little bit of variety. Plus, these are direct capture, so you can actually use these with any other impulse responses or Tonex cabs that you already have, and you might find something that works really beautifully with them. I'm going to keep this on the Warm 251 for now. Head back over to the amp. Now you'll see here is all of the included models, right? So we have this naming convention I used. I called it Ecstasy, and you'll notice there's a number, either a plus, a minus, another B1, B2, or N, and then V off or V on. So the number at the beginning is telling us the gain level on the pedal. So I did 3 different captures, sort of low, medium, high gain, and I captured each of those settings in both the plus gain and minus gain positions, and I captured all of those in either the neutral, B1 or B2 EQ switch, and I captured all of those both with Variac on and off. I really like the on setting, as I'm going to show you here. So how do these sound with this particular IR that I have here? Well, starting off with kind of the lowest gain here, we'll go to the Ecstasy 1 minus N. So this is the neutral setting. And we can also hear that with the different IRs that are included in the bundle. So very low gain on that one, just like I wanted it for that setting. Then we can go to the Variac on version of it. A little bit more squish to it. Like the feel of that. So then we can also compare that to the different EQ voicings of B1 and B2. If you want a little bit more bite. So you see how dramatic we can get these. Now, some of these might sound a little bright. I left them like that on purpose because they were really showing what those switches on the pedal actually do. Now, if we move on to the number 2, which is the higher gain setting, we can go to something like the higher gain on the minus setting, neutral with the Variac on. Right, and we can use those EQ switches. And if you find that a little bright, you can go to something like the Fathead IR. So a lot of different possibilities here. Now, as we move up to higher gain levels, and the beautiful part here is we can take these controls and tweak them if you want a little bit more brightness into that. So a lot of great tones hidden inside of there if we want to just tweak around a little bit on these. So lots of possibilities. So how do these sound in a mix? Well, I did a song, as I mentioned earlier, with my good friends Marco Miniman and Jason Henry as the rhythm section. These guys knocked it out of the park again like usual. And I used nothing but these tone captures from the new Ecstasy Red Ultimate bundle that I have available at the link below. On my website, there's a free version and there's a big full paid package too, just if you wanted to support my channel. It helps me to be able to keep doing these videos where I can help you to get the most out of your software, hopefully. And this is how those sounded. And as I said, there's no other post-processing. Any compression or reverb was right from Tonex itself. The two things that are slightly processed different, all within Amplitube, is like I mentioned, the lead tone has just a dab of delay on it from the X gear pedals within Amplitube. And there's one really subtle little part in the guitar solo section where I use the X gear modulation pedal to have just a little bit of tremolo on one of the parts. But other than that, all you're hearing, the core tones of these are just straight from Tonex with any EQ, compression, or reverb straight from what is included in these tone captures. So here's what that sounds like. All right, what did you guys think? I hope you enjoyed the song. That was a fun one. That was originally released on my album Broken back in 2012. Believe it or not, unbelievable, 10 years ago. Absolutely crazy to think about that. Feels like yesterday that I released that originally. The original version had my good friends Kenny Aronoff on drums and Martin Motnick on bass, and they nailed it back then, but I wanted to do like kind of a refreshed version of that for some of these tone demos. So I hope you guys like that. So at the link below, please grab the free preset, try it out, see if you like what I've captured here. If you do, maybe think of supporting the channel by grabbing the full bundle, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of really great tones in there from this favorite pedal of mine. I'm so happy to have it back in my collection. I have a couple other pedals I'm going to throw in to do some captures of in the very near future. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it, and also please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Ciao for now.